Welcome to the Los Culeros podcast, where the arrows fly straight and the conversations stay real. We're your hosts, Jose Jara and Josh Peña. We're just a couple of everyday guys with a growing love for the archery, the outdoors, and the journey that comes with both. By no means are we pros or veterans, but we're all in. Whether you're new to the bow or have years under your belt, you're welcome here. This podcast is all about sharing stories, learning from guests, and building a community around the sport we've grown to love. So grab your bow, lace up your boots, and join us as we dive into archery, hunting, and life, one shot at a time. So this is like a long time in the work.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, I've been talking about it for a minute.
So it's kind of cool to actually start putting it together.
Yeah. What has it been, like 2 years now?
Probably about that.
Yeah.
3 years. We've been talking about doing something like this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty cool to actually get all the stuff and get excited about doing something different. So for the people that don't know, you want to introduce yourself?
Oh, yeah. My name's Joshua Peña. Been here in Demi most of my life, man. Got into this archery game just decades ago. And, yeah, man, just an avid hunter. I'm trying to be an avid fisherman, dude, but I just don't have that. I just, you gotta have luck, man. I don't know what it is, but yeah, here in Demi, New Mexico, man. Home of the ibex.
Yes, sir. So we got together like in grade school or high school, right? High school.
It's high school, yeah. Well, see, we went to grade school together. We just didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
then high school, man. I think it was probably 11th, 12th grade. We were running around with those cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think what the crazy part about it is I never knew anything about the outdoors. I did a little bit of camping, a little bit of fishing, but nothing really too serious. And so I started talking to you. And you, on the other hand, have been doing this for a long time, right? Your family's really into the hunting and the fishing and stuff like that.
Yeah, man. So, yeah, dude, all my uncles, my grandpa, basically every male on my mom's side is a hunter of some kind. You know, it's everything. Even like on my dad's side, I don't know too many of them, but there's a few of them that hunt on that side too. But most of the time, we're just hunting with my mom's side of the family. That's just like tagging along and sometimes not even actually hunting, but just being out there.
Yeah, and I think that's where it starts, right? You got to get out there. You got to try to hang out. Like-minded individuals and try to keep that going. So when you were growing up, was it primarily archery or rifle season that you would hang out with them with?
Most of them were rifle hunters. Most of them. The only one that was an avid bow hunter was my Uncle Joe. He was an avid bow hunter. That's where, like, all my cousins did. We would all do archery. You know, ever since I was probably like maybe 6, 7. They used to compete at Centennial all the way back. I think it was like the Florida Bow Hunters. That's what the archery club was at that time. And never went over there, never competed. And I just had this old like a 15-pound bear recurve bow, and that we killed so many things with that thing, but mainly like lizards, birds, things we found
running around, mosquitoes.
Mm-hmm. And back then, we would break an arrow, and we wouldn't throw it away though. Like nowadays, you can't do that.
Yeah,
you don't toss your arrow. But back in the day, we used to put a bunch of electrical tape on it and make a blunt out of it.
There you go.
And then still go out there. But that's where it all started, dude. We would be in the backyard having competitions and shooting hay bales and stuff from my grandma's house. Yeah,
I know the first time that we started talking about doing archery stuff was when we were working night shift. And we talked about, getting a bow. I talked about getting a bow. You already had one at the time. And talked about getting into it. And, man, that time flies, right?
Oh, yeah. Dude.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That was 2016, dude.
Yeah.
2016, and I had just gotten mine. I had stopped archery for a number of years. Life got busy, couldn't do it no more. My family kind of fell out of archery as well. And then my little brother, he's like, hey, I told him about this Full Draw Film Fest, right, with Beyond Rubicon. Brian Sillison, Jeff Sillison. So anyways, we went out there and just watching the big screen, dude, in a movie theater, and you're watching people like self-made hunting videos and stuff, and that just ignited a fire, dude. So
yeah, just lit the spark again.
Yeah, so I ended up with the bow that same summer. Never shot a compound before. I was always recurve. And then when I got back into it, I ended up with, I wanted the PSE brute force. That's what I was after.
Yeah.
And when I got back to Albuquerque to go buy it, they didn't have it anymore. So I ended up with the drive.
Yeah.
And then, just fell in love with it, dude. I mean, learning it all over again with a different style of bow. I didn't have anybody to go to, so it was all like YouTube videos and
right.
how-tos and things like that.
That's the great thing about YouTube, man.
Dude, it's a tool, man.
Yeah. You just jump on the YouTube and watch a couple of videos and kind of put some stuff together.
Mm-hmm.
That was your first actual compound.
That was my
adult
first
compound bow.
Yeah. Well, compound bow, period.
Okay.
Period. That was the first one. And then first arrow right out of that bow, man, I broke it. I shot the ground and it snapped. And then, I just started working with it, man, and shooting every day and practicing before work, after work. Anytime I did, I'd go outside and shoot the bow and became really good at it. And then that's when you got your bow.
Yeah. So mine was a little different. I had an opportunity to help Kyle. Kyle was doing a remodel for a bow shop that was opening up. Mm-hmm. And he tapped me and he was like, "Hey man, can you help me do some drywall?" And I go, "Yeah. How much are you gonna pay me?" And he goes, "Well, I have a bow. I'm gonna get a bow for this job. I'll give you my old bow, and we'll figure out the other end of it." Because I ended up owing him money for the bow, but it wasn't too bad. The only thing though, when I got it, I didn't realize that you had to get a specific draw length to you. I didn't realize there was different poundage on the limbs. So when I got that bow, it was a bigger draw, and it was way overbowed for me. For my first bow to try to pull back 70 pounds, and it was a 31-inch draw length on it. So luckily, I was able to get a hold of Rick Turner at the bow shop here, and he put me in contact with the guy in Cruces that had some mods for it, and it was an Obsession Elevate.
Was it Evolution?
Evolution. Obsession Evolution, yeah. With that crazy camo, it was like a red and white snow camo on it. And got after it, got it put together. Same experience. First arrow out of it, I lost it. I had no idea where it went. Luckily, nobody got hurt, but that was my first time drawing it back and firing it. And then same thing, just every time I had a chance to draw it back and work on it, we were out there in the backyard messing with it. And then I actually ended up with a couple of free archery range passes for the bow shop. So I'd go in there and shoot. Didn't really know anybody there, so I was just by myself there shooting, put on my headphones and just kind of shoot. And then start talking about league night. And that was one thing that you were really not wanting to do.
I didn't. Yeah, I didn't, dude. I told you too. I was like, nah, dude, I just want to bow hunt. I just want to shoot my bow. I don't want to compete against anybody. And I didn't know about the shop. I didn't know the guys yet. And I was, you know what? It's something new, and it's a challenge. And I love, to conquer challenges and stuff. And it was out of my realm. I was like, you know what? I just got this thing. What was it? Like, I bought the bow in June, and then I think league started somewhere like October or something like that. And man, just came out. I mean, like I said, I was practicing all the time, so I didn't know how good I was till I started competing against Chuck. So then found out real quick that Chuck is pretty damn good. Yeah. So being able to compete at his level for a while. Dude. I mean,
but I feel like it's kind of good to kind of meet somebody like that that you feel like you feel you're at a level where you're confident in your skill, and then you meet somebody and you're like, oh man, we're on a whole different level, and then just kind of work at, because after a while you guys were neck and neck.
Yeah.
You guys were like a couple of points apart.
Yeah.
Every league.
Yeah, I was always within, I think, ballpark, I was within 10, and yeah, man, just arrow for arrow, and I didn't know it at the time. I didn't know anything about the scoring system or anything like that, and I'm shooting a hunting bow with 5mm FMJs.
Yeah.
And we're shooting 3-spot, and I'm scoring like 292, 293. I didn't know at the time that that's good.
Yeah.
And, you know, then we went to 5-spot, and the way he had it set up,
20-30.
yeah, it was 20 and 30.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 20 yards, 30 yards. And then I shot really good there too. But now, knowing what I know now, I was shooting perfect scores.
Back then.
Yeah, but he made it harder.
Right. He scored it different.
Yeah. So I was still shooting like, you know, high 290s.
Yeah.
But it was a good experience.
Definitely.
And look where I'm at now.
Yeah.
I won't get there, but yeah, I just started with, I don't want to compete, to actually competing and taking second place that year.
Yeah.
You know, so
I remember that.
Yeah, and I ended up in the newspaper over that one.
I seen the ad. I've seen the news clipping in Bow Shop. It's still on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, because it was just something that we picked up. I picked up as a new hobby, something I could do by myself in the backyard. Because back then we were playing softball. Remember that? And it was you have to get 12 grown men together to show up at the same time and cooperate and play together. And you could not, for the life of me, I could not get that to work. So it was nice finding something like archery that you can do on your own, and still compete. Also, you could still do it with somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
I think our first bow shoot was at Red Hawk in Cruces, and that was a different experience, because we're used to shooting 20-30 yards, and then competing with the person right next to you. And when you're out there in the 3D course, it's completely different. And I think that was a different experience, and eye-opening to say the least, to see that kind of play out.
Yeah, definitely, man. We went in kind of blind, a little bit blind. And we're used to shooting 20 and 30, and out there you're shooting 50, 60 yards, and it's like, it's a little bit different. So, but what did we end up scoring that? I
don't remember the exact score, but I know it was identical.
Yeah.
We shot the same score. Yeah.
So I should have kept that scorecard, man.
Dude, me too. I wish I still had that.
Yeah. And dude, I've shot. So that was the first one. That was the first 3D shoot that we did. And then what happened after that? We think we found out that they were having them here in town, right?
Yeah. After that, we kind of got bit by the bug, and we were looking for other 3D events, and we found out there was one here local. Yeah,
and it was crazy, dude. It's like we're shooting a league with these guys, not knowing that they also do 3D tournaments and stuff. And
well, it was new to us, so we didn't really know too much.
And it was a new shop too. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's cool having knowledgeable people, like you said, when you're starting off in something, and when you're looking to get advice, there's people. Yeah,
it definitely gives you a good base.
Yeah, I don't think I've met anybody in the archery community that is like, figure it out, do it on your own. It's like, man, try this, try that. I've been through there, or I've had that issue, or I met somebody that had that issue, and this is how you fix it, or this is what I did to fix it. So it's really cool, man. The archery community is pretty cool to be a part of.
That's the one thing that really changed my opinion about archery in general, is everyone's so like-minded, and they're so willing to help, and they're so willing to give you an opinion, advice, and they don't judge. I think that's like the most important thing for somebody that's going into something new, is you're going to have that fear that you're being judged, or you're not being taken serious, or whatever it is. Everyone's got self-conscious things about them that they worry about, especially when trying something new like archery. And archery is not easy to get into. That's difficult as hell.
I think the number one mistake, dude, that people getting into archery, like you said, like fear of judgment, is I'm gonna look weak. I gotta pull a lot of pounds, and they do that eagle pull, dude.
Yeah,
70-pound bow, but they're not capable of it, and yeah, that's not good. You don't ever want to do that.
Yeah,
But that, I think for me too, and it happened to me when I got my first bow. They're like, oh yeah, 50 pounds. Like, yeah, I can pull 50 pounds, or it was 60.
Right.
It was 60. I was like, I could pull it, and then I struggled to pull that bow back, and he's like, well, you kind of struggle there, man. Let me lower it down. I was like, no, I got it. He's like, no, dude, you're going to hurt yourself if you keep this up. So he lowered it down. I think it down to 52, and it felt comfortable. And I was like, oh, okay, this is what it's supposed to feel like. And, that first arrow that went through that bow, dude, I was like, yeah, I'm buying this. This is mine. And, dude, I don't know how many bows later.
Right.
I look up at your rack. Like, yeah, I don't know how. I'm not nowhere near like that, but just if I could keep them all.
Yeah.
If I kept them all.
This is your fault, by the way. Yeah. All these bows that are hanging up.
We'll go back into whose fault is what.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. No, but it's definitely a good outlet. It's definitely helped me, through some tough times, and just being able to have an outlet to release some stress or to get your mind off of things. That's the one thing that I don't think people realize, that when you get into archery, it doesn't matter what kind of equipment you buy, it doesn't matter what you have, but that feeling of drawing that bow back and releasing that arrow, it's almost like time slows down, right?
Yeah.
Like when you see that arrow just come off the string and you're just staring at it, and it's all it takes is one good shot to get you hooked.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, whoa, like, really?
Yeah, your first bullseye, man. And it's cool because like people come and ask now, right? Like, hey, I'm just trying to get into it. I need some practice. And it's like, all right, yeah, come on out. We'll go throw a bag up on there on the target stand. We'll shoot around. And I mean, to see them, like Chewy, for example, man, getting pictures sent to us and he's Robin Hooding arrows. It's like, yeah, dude, it's the greatest thing. Yeah. Like, he's excited about it. And, and that just makes us excited about it because we got another person to shoot with us and stuff. And
and I don't know how many years I try to talk that kid into getting a bow and getting after it. And but you know what? It also comes down to the equipment, because if you have some janky, stuff that doesn't really work well, brands don't matter, prices don't matter. But as long as it works correctly and you're comfortable with it, it makes a difference. And if you're not comfortable with your equipment, so that's why it matters to get the right draw length, to get the right arrows built, so that you can actually have some fun. And I think that's what really changed his mind, because I think back then he was, trying to mess with some stuff that maybe wasn't really up to par or set up for him. And when he got something set up for him, got the right arrows and started to see some results and getting some bullseyes, like you were saying, some Robin Hoods even. I think he's gotten like super into it and super excited, which is awesome to see, to be able to, see that same passion for the sport that we have. It's pretty cool.
And what do we always tell them, man? Don't get too deep.
Yeah,
Get too, leave it simple.
Yeah, leave it simple.
You'll be fine.
I think that's the one mistake that we all make is, I'm guilty of it. I try to keep up with the Joneses, and I see something new and I'm like, oh man, I want that. But going back to it, when we first got into it, it was just a matter of getting outside, getting a couple of shots under your belt, and just staying humble with that, and just keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it, because you were trying to prove yourself that you were in the same league as everybody else. And I think that's gotten to my head a little bit, where you almost kind of feel a little bit of an ego, with what you shoot or the brand that you shoot. But back then, none of that mattered, right? We were just worried about how many arrows we sent down range.
Yeah. For me personally, man, it would be like maybe I would at least 100 every single day, and that'd be like, if I had, let's say, an hour before I had to leave for work, I'd do that, just go outside and shoot the bow and stuff. Or 2016. We were driving at that time, so it would have been night shift. So before work would be in the afternoon, and then after work, after get the kids to school and stuff, go outside and just put a bag up and start shooting.
Yeah, and 100 arrows sounds crazy, but in reality, you get a hip quiver, you get a dozen arrows, and you make 4 or 5 trips downrange.
Yeah,
you're there.
Yeah, And back then, I mean, I think it was just grouping, dude. Try to get the group as tight as it possibly could be at whatever distance it was. On my property, I can do up to 100. I'm just trying to get the tightest group out of that. And like I said, back then, I was shooting that many arrows every day at a comfortable weight, not what's the word? Not trying to like exhaust myself into an injury, So just shooting until comfortable. And then what I would do, and that's just me personally, is like if I miss, all right, cool, I'll reset, shoot another arrow, and then if it's not on the mark, like where I left it, I know I'm already tired already.
Yeah.
But mind you, I've already shot almost 100 arrows, so it was different times, man, for sure, different times.
Yeah. Yeah, now that's 3D stuff. What really tickled my fancy was when we started getting in the mountains and getting out there and experiencing, my first actual hunt. We got lucky enough to draw a bull elk tag. Well, it was either sex tag,
yeah.
and unit,
and what they call a trash unit.
Yeah,
for elk.
That was the thing that really blew my mind. Is everyone is so in the archery community is so willing to help, and so everyone comes together. But you also have to be careful for those trolls on the internet.
Yeah.
And that goes without saying with everything. I mean, car clubs, sporting, archery, hunting, whatever it is, there's some people that are going to pass some judgment for sure. But that was an experience. I mean, I got online thinking, and maybe I can get some advice. Maybe I can find some pointers. And right away, everyone was like, you're not going to see any elk in that unit. You picked a really bad unit. It's not going to be a good one.
I mean, I don't know if they had just opened it up for archery or how long it had been, because I had never put in for elk. I've never got drawn for elk. I've been on a couple of elk hunts with my brother and stuff and my grandpa. But I had never got my own tag, and then that year we put in, I think there's only 15 tags for that unit.
Yeah.
And we had 2 of them.
Yeah.
And we didn't see anybody else hunting.
Where we were at. I think that was the crazy part for me is, where I had my doubts is not seeing anybody out there. Mm-hmm. But I mean, for a reason, I guess, right?
Yeah, I mean, if they followed the same internet search you did, I saw what you saw, and I mean, there's just all the negativity, man. But the thing is, like, and negative goes both ways, man. There's people that just nothing's gonna make them happy. They hunted that unit once and had a hard time, and the hell with that unit.
Yeah.
And then you got people that troll that say, "Oh yeah, there's nothing there. Don't go over there." They just try to keep you out of their honey holes and stuff. And man, dude, we were in elk every day.
Yeah, yeah. That was the crazy part. That was the crazy part for me to witness and to see it, because I didn't. I mean, you see videos and pictures of elk, and you understand the animal in that sense, but face to face, to hear that bugle, to feel that presence, and even the smell. Yeah. I mean, there was a couple of hikes that we went up pretty high up there, and you could smell it, and we had just barely missed them. So that was exciting, man, for sure.
Yeah, all the beds, man. It was a great hunt. It was a really great hunt, and so we were everywhere in there, and we saw them. We were always at the wrong spot at the wrong time.
That's what it felt like for the first couple of days, right? Yeah. So it just felt like we couldn't do anything right.
It's like they were here. You can smell them, like you said. You can smell them, or you can see where they went through all the steps and stuff. And then I think we had 3-4 days where we were there solid, right, day in, day out, and couldn't get a hold of them. I think we did see them. They were on top of a hill, but we were on the next ridge over, and it's been dark. Yeah, I think that was the time where I was like, man, if we don't see a freaking elk, I swear to God. And then you're like, look over there. Oh. Yeah. And where's that same knoll, dude, where you saw that bear? Yeah. That bear was in there too. But even then, like, the little bit of people that we did talk to, it's like, oh yeah, man, there's a couple in here, but they're not very good, or I haven't seen them on camera in a couple days, things like that. It's like, man, it's kind of disheartening. But you see everything else. We saw deer, we saw turkey.
Yeah.
You saw the bear. I never got to see that bear. But let's see. We were 4 days in. We were going to pull cameras ourselves.
Yeah.
And playing around, like kind of not hunting at all.
Yeah.
Just going into the pull cameras, and then lo and behold,
bam!
there's a herd of elk watching us be idiots.
Yeah. That was not our greatest moment for sure.
Dude, so yeah, we ended up going in, right? We go in, and I did draw back on a cow, and then greed set in. I saw that bull.
Yeah.
I was like, nah, I want him.
I think we all say, oh man, take the shot on the cow, but man, seeing that rack, seeing that the size of that bull, it's hard to say, you know what, screw it, I'm gonna take this cow when you have an opportunity. We still had like a week left when we saw that cow. We still had a couple of days. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, because we ended up going back out for a couple of days. I think next weekend or something. Yeah. So I think we had 14 days, and we were running out of time, and kind of got a good pattern of what they were doing and stuff, and
we started to figure it out.
Yeah,
I think
that was our first time. That was our first time hunting.
Our first time,
your literal first time.
My literal first time ever being out there for more than a couple of days without going back into town. So that was a different experience for me. Back then, I was used to camping pretty close to main roads, pretty close to a bathroom, pretty close to a general store. Mm-hmm. And I think getting up there and, you told me, hey, get up to that first hill or go as far as you can go in your truck, and then we'll set up camp there. And I didn't realize that.
So I'll meet you there.
I'll meet you there. Yeah, it was a little further than you thought we were going to get into, but we had a pretty good spot. But yeah, man, I think that experience, definitely more than blessed to have that first hunt turn out that way that it turned out, and man, been hooked ever since.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look at the sequence of events, man.
Yeah.
We had the struggle. That was my first time with the tag hunting elk, period, myself. And then I have you as a newbie with me. Brandon. And I'm not trying to show you any kind of wrong ropes or anything like that, but we're learning together. And I bought a bugle and tried that out and didn't know what the hell I was doing, but we got an answer.
Hey, you were building pretty good for it being your first time.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of YouTube, bro.
Yeah, YouTube, man.
So it was fun though, man. We had that. Well, I thought it was a cow elk that was barking at us.
Right.
And it was a small
spike.
Bull, a spike, a small bull, and we had gone in after him because we're running out of time. Almost at the end of the hunt. And actually, I think we had one more day.
Yeah.
We had. Let's reverse here. Let's rewind a little bit. So we were in that pasture, right? And we're going to set up. We had just found the road. Somebody had blocked it off, right?
Yeah.
We went in there, and across the field, I was at 240. That big old 7x7 was sitting there across the field with the herd, and like, oh man, and we're losing daylight. And
that was the craziest, because I think we're getting into that. We have 1 day left to pull this off, and the hunt wasn't over. It's just our time out there was coming to an end. We had to get back to work.
Yeah.
And same thing. I think at that point, I had already checked out. I was already kind of. I think I had found what was it? A cow head or something, had cow skull or something we were looking at, and I kept looking around seeing if I could see anything else, and then all of a sudden you stop in front of me and I bump into you. And I look up and there's this freaking huge 7x7. Yeah,
it's huge. And so we were pinned because we had one tree ahead of, like, in front of us. And
I wouldn't even call that a tree. It was a bush.
It wasn't very big.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, well, let's see what happens. I don't know anything about calling out. So I bugled at him, and he started moving in. So, the nerves start kicking in.
Yeah.
Things start shaking and stuff. And he strolls right out into the middle of the pasture, like, what is it, 130, 140, and lays
every
down.
bit of it. Yeah.
And lays down like, damn it, we're going to have to make a move right now because we're losing light.
Yeah.
And this might be their only shot. And I remember you crawled through the grass.
I don't know what came over me to decide to try to do
You're
that.
a go-getter, though, man. It's like, you know what? It's all or nothing.
Yeah, and that kind of, I don't know what came over me, and I tend to act before I think when it comes to that kind of stuff. And so I just remember I was already on my knees. We were trying to get behind this little bush that was, man, it was tiny, tiny little bush, and we're trying to get our whole bodies behind it so this guy doesn't see us. And I just remember going from my knees to my belly, and then I was like, well, screw it, I'm gonna start crawling.
Yeah, I know you made it to the next tree that was probably 60 yards, and it was getting dark fast. It seemed like somebody was just hitting the dimmer switch hard. Man. Yeah. I thought we felt like we had like at least another hour, and 15 minutes goes by, and you make it to that tree and range them. I think you range them at 80, and I can barely see you now. And it's like, it felt like such a small amount of time, but the light situation was way different.
Yeah, that's exactly what it felt like. I mean, I remember starting to crawl, and I'm like, you know what, I have some time, let's get there. And by the time I get up to range it, I can barely get a range across because it's so dark. And from that point, I was like, you know what, 80 yards, I might be able to pull the shot off. He's broadside. I'm like, you know what, let me see if I can draw back and see if I can get him. I drew back, and I can't see any of my pins. It's too dark. And at that point, the decision was let one fly or try to come back and figure this out.
Yeah.
So if we did that, and I'm glad we did, I let down, and then we didn't spook them.
No.
Because they were something else. I think one of the other ones bugled or something.
I don't remember that. I know
they got up.
Yeah. I remember you saying I can't see him, and I was like, just come back. So yeah, you snuck your way back to where I was the same way you got there, crawling and stuff. And yeah, we just let them stay there, put them to bed, and we backed out. So we knew they were there. We knew that they were hanging out in that area.
I think that was the frustrating part, was leaving that day knowing how close we came to putting an arrow in one. And I remember that right back was quiet. Quiet till we got out of the mountains, and then we started talking. Oh man, if we had more time, and I think I just let that sulk for a day, and I was like, fuck it.
It's the thing, man. It's like, because everything, when it doesn't work out, or even when it does, but when it doesn't work out, everything goes through your head. Like, what could I have done better? What if I would have done this? Or I should have been here, and I should have done this. And it's all these little things go through your head and stuff. And it's like, you kick yourself in the ass.
Yeah. Hindsight's 20/20.
Yeah.
So, and it definitely, you see that more when you're hunting, because one thing, there's a lot of stuff that you can control when you hunt, but what you can't control is the animal, what they're going to do, how they're going to do it. You could have the perfect shot, and they'll just stop behind a bush.
Yeah.
You have no control.
So many times.
Right? And it feels like they do it on purpose. It almost feels like they know where you are, where the private property is, where the fences are.
Yeah.
It's so crazy to see that.
It's a different world out there, man. It definitely is. I've come to that situation so many times where, just the last buck I killed.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was about to draw back on him, and I waited for him for a while, and he was coming right where I needed him to. And as soon as I saw his nose peek out of that bush, I'll start drawing my bow back. But then he stopped.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
what are you doing?
Not yet, yeah. So why did he stop? And then he took a step, and then I drew my bow back. Otherwise, I would have been holding for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, and that's one thing. I feel like over time, we've gained that experience to when to draw back and how to draw back. And it also feels almost like we got a little more patience in this, right?
Dude, having to talk to yourself, bro, like, don't do it, not yet. But I've also been in those situations too where like, not yet, and the moment's perfect. It's just, you're waiting for something. You're waiting for something better to happen, and it doesn't happen. You're like, damn it, I should have drawn back on him when this happened. It's like, every situation is different. So going back to that elk hunt, we backed out. And then I think we gave it a day or two.
I think what it was is I was trying to figure out how to weasel my way out of going to work. So that was the thing, is because there was still like 3 or 4 days left in the hunt, but I had to go back to work. I had already called off a couple of days, and so I couldn't miss any more days.
Yeah, and I think I had a day off. And I told you, I had called you to tell you, hey, I'm going to go try it. And then, who's going with you? I was like, just solo, bro. I'm going to go.
I was like, give me 5 minutes.
Yeah. And then you're all like, what'd you tell me? Like, I'm good to go, bro. Wait for me. I was like, all right. So yeah.
I ended up telling my boss I had an appointment in Silver City. He didn't know it was with a bull elk, but that's an appointment. I can't miss it. I told him. And yeah, we go up there, we head out there.
Went in the same spot.
Same spot. And we knew what time they were there that couple of days before. So we were just kind of hoping they would be there.
Yeah.
And this time we were a little more cautious getting in there. We found some bigger trees to get behind, for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. And then I think the big difference maker, I think, was trying to figure out the temperament of these bulls and you raking.
That was a big thing, bro. And what's crazy about it is that your boss was the one that told me. He's like, did you try raking? I was like, no. He's like, dude, it drives them crazy. You got to try it. So I was like, all right, well. We made it back out there with a few hours to spare. And
how would you explain raking? So for somebody that doesn't know.
Just taking that. Well, what I did was I grabbed the biggest branch I could and just I would bugle and let that sit for a little bit, maybe a minute or two, and then I would just start hitting the tree with kind of mimicking antlers
thrashing
rubbing a tree.
Yeah.
You know, that's pretty spot on there. They rub their antlers on trees, and so we're trying to just making a bunch of noise and stuff. Elk are
territorial.
Yeah, they're territorial. So, and we found that out like really quick too. That was something that on that hunt that like, oh man, like I made this guy mad, you know?
Yeah.
But so yeah, we were sitting there and everything. I'm bugling, no answers whatsoever, and then we heard that bark come through.
Yeah, you heard that bark. I had a different experience.
You had a very different experience.
You know, we had split up.
I didn't know you were playing footsies with that thing.
Yeah, we had split up. I'm under a tree, trying to figure out, you know, where my shooting windows were, and I was turned completely the wrong way. I do a 180, and I see this little spike in perfect line with this little shooting window I have, and he's barking. I'd never heard anything like that in my life.
Yeah, me neither. I heard it, dude, and I was like, is that a bird? Like, what is that?
Yeah.
I didn't know what was going on. I just kept doing my thing because the way we set up is something that I was taught, you know, whenever you're doing coyote calling, right? You call in a certain direction, you have your shooting windows, but your buddy has his own window and stuff, kind of like the back door.
Yeah.
Is what we call it. So you were kind of on the back door, and I didn't know any of this was going on.
Yeah.
I kept hearing him bark, but I didn't know what it was. I'd never heard it before.
Yeah. He's probably about 20, 30 yards in front of me, barking. And I realized, oh man, this guy's legal. I can take this guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I knock an arrow. He's barking. You're thrashing the tree and bugling. So he knows something's going on.
Mm.
And I remember drawing back, and my arms start shaking. I have a cow call in my mouth. I can't even hold that straight. I'm drooling. I'm a complete mess trying to draw back on this guy. I draw back. I don't even think I looked through my peep. You know, like everything you can do wrong, I did wrong.
Yeah.
And 20, 30 yard shot. I mean, man, it's hard to miss. You know, after all the reps that we did, but sure as shit, I missed way low. Shot underneath him. He jumps up and kind of skirts away, and I'm just sitting there thinking of all the things I did wrong.
Yeah.
You know, didn't look at my peep. I didn't anchor right. Didn't look at my pin. Didn't look at my bubble.
Like, what the hell am I doing out here? Like, god dang, man, I can't believe I did all this. And meanwhile, you're bugling and raking this tree. You know, and all of a sudden I hear this massive bugle, and I know it's not you because it's coming from a different direction. And that was the crazy part for me. I was like, whoa, what is happening right now?
Yeah, his bugle is a lot better than mine.
yeah, a little bit better.
Yeah, dude. So yeah, I didn't know that all that was going down with that little spike, and then he ended up coming all the way around to my side, and kept hearing him bark, and then I finally seen him. Well, I thought it was a cow. That's how small he was, and I put eyes on him. And I was like, all right. So I'm watching him come through the trees and stuff, and I'm at the edge of the tree line, and I'm waiting for him to come out. You know, so I was like, if he comes out broadside, I got him at 35 yards, I'm gonna shoot him, and so he turns around, doesn't ever break the tree line. He turns around and starts going back in. And that's why we're on the same wavelength, dude, because I'm walking in trying to find him, and I look over and you're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
You know? And then that bugle came through. We looked at each other like, oh, shit.
Yeah, we just sat our asses down real quick.
I was like, damn it. So, yeah, I lost sight of you because I actually went back to where I was raking at.
Yeah.
And I knew the general direction of where you were, not to shoot that way. And, yeah, that bugle, dude, just, you can hear the raspiness.
Yeah.
I knew he was facing us, and I heard the trees, dude.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, shit, that'll be a good-sized bull.
The crazy part is we're like in this bowl. Mm-hmm. So when it bugles, it echoes throughout that whole bowl. Yeah. My hairs are standing up straight, you know, on my arms. And I'm just like, oh man, it almost like took my breath away.
Yeah.
In a sense, whenever I heard that bugle, and my ass just hit the ground. And then, you know, I found a tree. I'm sitting next to this big ass tree. I can see where you went, so I know where you are, mm-hmm. and we know where each other are. So we're not shooting into our directions. But yeah, I'm sitting down and I can hear limbs breaking from these trees, and I'm trying to figure out where this guy's at because he's coming fast.
Yeah, and at what point, bro? Because I don't know how close you actually were to him when he was coming through. Because I caught a glimpse of him when there's like a small walking path, cow trail, and I saw him come down for a flash, dude. And then at one point, I can hear him breathing, just huffing, because he's coming in quick. But how long was it after the first bugle that you don't?
So from the first bugle, it was probably, I mean, it felt like an eternity, but it was probably a minute. Mm-hmm. And he came across that same window that little spike was at. Mm-hmm. And but I froze. I just seen him walk past that window, and then he stood in front of the tree. I don't have a shot. Mm-hmm. And I'm just praying that he turns and comes out the side where I have the opening. And it almost felt like he did exactly what I wanted him to do, because he turned and he got about 46, 48 yards from where I was at and just stopped right in front of me. And I'm just like, holy shit, this is really happening. And what's crazy is what's going through my mind is all of the stuff that I did wrong when that first one happened. Mm-hmm. So I draw back. I'm looking at my bubble. I'm looking at my pin. I remember counting 20, 30, 40, 20, 30, 40, 20, 30, 40. So I have the right pin on him. And I remember having my finger on the trigger and just looking at him, and all of a sudden it broke.
Yeah.
And I almost fell. It broke so fast without me thinking I was pulling it. I think it's from the adrenaline.
Yeah.
You know, so it broke, and I'm just watching this arrow spin through the air, and then all of a sudden it just smacks it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, holy shit, this just happened.
Yeah, man. So I had already drawn back my bow too, because I had seen him coming.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, I was waiting for the nose to peek past that last tree line, dude, the last tree on that line. And I seen him coming, and then I drew my bow back on him, And then I heard that shot go off, and I heard that crack, and I was like, "Oh shit!" So he comes running out, and I took a shot at him. I didn't hit him.
I remember seeing that. My arrow's in him, and he's starting. He didn't know what happened, and he starts to run forward, and he stops. And then when he stopped, I seen the arrow come out. Oh. I didn't see where it went, but I saw the arrow. Mm-hmm. I was like, "Oh man,"
Yeah, because when he came out, I saw your arrow stick. It was a little high, but I saw the blood spot, and I was like, and I think I had like a oh shit moment, where I wasn't aiming like the way I usually aim. I wasn't aiming anymore. I followed him like I would with a rifle, dude. I just shot.
Yeah.
And I don't know how the distance was when I let the arrow fly, but I was trying to put another arrow in him. And I seen him take off. He went up and back into the canyon. And then, dude, we had that oh shit moment that just happened.
Yeah.
And again, we were losing daylight.
Yeah.
Right.
I see you running toward me. I go to stand up so I can meet you in this little pasture that's there. Yeah. And my legs are jello. I remember getting up, and then my freaking knees hit the ground again. And I'm like, what the heck? I couldn't stand up. And I think it was all the adrenaline. It all happened so fast. I'm just like, oh my God, what happened? Yeah. And you went over, you give me a hug, and you're like, holy shit, dude, you got him. I was like, what? And then it got real.
Yeah, it got real. It got too real, dude.
Yeah.
So yeah, we I was like, all right, we're giving like maybe 20 minutes, and I was like, all right, let's go look to see where you fell, because it was a good shot. So I'm following the tracks because there's no blood. We haven't found any blood yet. I know where I physically seen him running. So I'm following his tracks and his tracks. And there's a little bit of blood here, a little bit of blood there.
Yeah, that was the scary part for me.
Oh, man.
Is we're tracking this guy, and I don't see any blood. And then we're just seeing, like you're saying, we're seeing the prints because they were still kind of wet. And then I remember seeing a small speck, and I was like, man, we're not going to find this guy.
Yeah. Yeah, that turned around real quick because we lost his tracks, and then he went down a ravine, and then we both looked up at the same time, and what do we see?
Freaking mountain lion.
Fucking mountain lion.
Mountain lion is fucking eating my elk. Yeah. I think I yelled at.
Yeah, I was like, because he was running towards the elk, right? And that's the last thing I remember. And all I hear is, he's gonna get my fucking elk.
Yeah,
yeah. You just start bolting, bro. I was like, God damn it, this dude's gonna get eaten.
Yeah.
So I
make it about halfway without a bow, and then I'm like, oh, what am I doing?
Yeah, it's like, dude, and yeah, sure shit, dude. We saw where the elk fell. It looked like a struggle. That mountain lion had torn into his hindquarters a little bit. Yeah, it's just, dude, that was like the whole shit moment,
right?
And when you finally get to put your hands on what you've been after,
man, I think that was the like, it almost felt like a giant weight off my shoulders, because we're out there for days, and we came close so many times, we just couldn't get the timing figured out.
I think what it was, man, is that we were chasing them instead of bringing them to us,
right? It's so crazy
in hindsight.
Yeah, exactly right. It's so crazy. I think about that all the time. Is going back to those hunts, knowing what we know now. Mm-hmm. I mean, man, the difference that would make. But
yeah, or make the same mistake twice, bro.
Right?
I mean, we've been on some great hunts. We really have, and yeah, dude, they're all learning lessons, dude. They all teach you something.
Fuck yeah!
I don't think I've ever been out there where I didn't learn anything.
That's the thing about hunting. Is that some people don't realize that even the times that you come back empty-handed, you learn so much being out there. You learn so much about yourself. You learn so much about your equipment. You learn so much about the outdoors. It's always something that you can come back with.
Yeah, no, definitely, dude. Definitely. So, I mean, like I said, it's a challenge every single time. There's no guarantee that you're going to kill something.
Yeah.
I do everything I can to make the odds better for myself.
Oh, definitely.
Right? So going out there months ahead of time, or finding the water sources, or finding out where they're at, or pictures, onyx, marking onyx where I saw them last. I mean, there's people that take it a little bit further and check out moon phases and all kinds of stuff like that. But yeah, dude, you're spot on when you say, every experience out there teaches you something. I think I've learned more coming home empty-handed than coming close.
Yeah, definitely.
It's always like, okay, I'm gonna try this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try that. And there's a lot of factors. I mean, it's nice when you get to hunt an area by yourself, where there's no other hunters around.
Yeah.
Because that changes the game whenever there's people out there and you have to change what you had, what your game plan was.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. That was definitely a challenging unit and a different experience. Doing that.
It didn't even end with the elk being on the ground, because I went to grab the UTV.
Oh,
I left my bow.
Yeah.
I left my bow in my backpack with you, and I was like, I'll be right back. I'm gonna run about a half mile maybe. I'm gonna run back to the UTV and we'll just drag them out of here. And I'm running across it. I'm like, at that pasture again. I'm running across it, and there's another bull elk standing there, like 60 yards, and I don't have my bow with me. And I just looked at him like, it's your lucky day, dude.
Yeah.
And then I get to the UTV and realize that the keys are in the backpack.
Yeah.
So I had to go all the way back.
I was glad that happened.
Yeah. Yeah. Meanwhile, you're back there fighting with the mountain lion.
Yeah.
To keep you out.
You leave. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go get the UTV. I'm super stoked. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna get some pictures of this guy while he's down. You went out to do that. I'm taking pictures of this guy with my camera. I look up and I just see two little beady eyes, just going back and forth on the tree line. And I'm like, no way. What is that?
Yeah.
I'm like, that can't be a mountain lion. And sure as shit, there's a fucking mountain lion. And I'm just like, fuck. Yeah. I put my ass and my back against a tree facing this guy thinking, man, I hope this guy doesn't come any closer. And he didn't. He was kind of staying his distance, but he was definitely there. And I could definitely feel his presence. And then having you come back, I'm like, all right, he's back. And you're like, I forgot the keys. I'll be right back.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, dude, shit, if you have to, dude, do what you gotta do. But we already had opened the elk up and stuff, and I don't feel like it took too long.
I don't feel like it did.
But I know that we were trying to get them. We strapped the elk up, and we're towing them out of there to get them away from the cap. And then we came to a standstill because damn bull elk was too heavy for the UTV.
Yeah.
I couldn't go uphill with him.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And then that's the funniest part of the story, dude. So, you mentioned that you were playing hooky from work. You had an appointment in Silver City.
Oh, man.
And then he made a phone call to, I made a phone call to my brother.
Yeah.
And then he was on his way. And I didn't know that you had made a phone call too.
Yeah. I actually called my boss and told him, I was like, hey, remember that appointment I told you I had? And he's like, yeah. I was like, well, I just killed a bull elk. And he goes, is that where you went? And I was like, yeah. He's like, I better be a big motherfucker or you're fired.
Yeah.
I remember him telling me that. He was joking, but I think he was half serious when he told me that.
Yeah.
And
he showed up with an army of people, dude, with knives and everything.
Yeah.
Was he a broken arm or broken? Yeah, broken arm. No.
He didn't have anything broken, but the guy he brought, his brother had just torn a ligament or something, cut himself with a knife. He's out there with knives, helping us.
Yeah, they tore that elk down quick, dude.
Yeah, and, thank God, man. That was.
I remember him saying, "He's like, you gotta be kidding me, Hara."
Yeah,
like this thing's huge.
Yeah,
yeah, he's a big boy, man.
I remember taking that backstrap out. I didn't do it. I think you and one of the guys were taking the backstrap, and I had seen pictures of backstrap.
Yeah,
but never one that big.
Yeah,
and I was like, "Holy shit, man!" Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, it was good. That was a long night. It was a very long night, and yeah, man, we got it done. It was almost the last day of the hunt, and we got it done. And I went back the year after, and I've seen a couple of bulls in there and stuff too. But it's like the challenge was like, oh no, you guys are gonna be wasting your time there.
Yeah,
the same guy, your boss, don't hunt that area, man. You're not gonna find nothing there. There's nothing there. Send them picture of tracks. Send them pictures of shit and everything. Oh yeah, that's what you need to look for. And like, yeah, that's where we're at.
That's exactly where we're at.
Yeah, so to be successful against all the naysayers.
Yeah.
That's just it's the icing on the cake.
Yeah, definitely the icing on the cake, cherry on top.
For a couple of first timers, dude, to pull something like that out of there.
Yeah, that was definitely the most rewarding, but definitely the hook that got me in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, dude, how do you top that?
Yeah, we're planning on doing it this year.
Yeah. It's yeah, dude. You start off at the top all the time.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, dude. You're okay. Your first bow, your compound bow, was Obsession Evolution.
Yeah.
What kind of sight did you have on there?
Oh yeah, that was the Spot Hawk Cameron Haynes site. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got on eBay. I used to love eBay. I still love eBay. eBay's the shit. But yeah.
So you didn't start exactly at the bottom. You started as a rookie, but you had some pretty top notch shit.
Yeah.
And shit. So you've only gone up from there.
Yeah, I got a problem.
Yeah, I had a problem too, man. But I sell them at a time,
Yeah, it's getting smaller. There used to be a couple of more hooks up there with some more bows on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the one thing.
I see one hole, dude. You should have that many more. There's only one empty hole.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's the one. That's the one Chewy's got.
Oh, okay.
Chewy's got
that's
that
the one he's killing it with.
Yeah.
Is that what was that one? The Evo?
That was the Evo.
That's the one I killed my deer with, huh?
So I had two of those. Remember?
Yeah. Well, the one that we traded. I got the expedite from you.
Yeah.
And that's the one you got for your son.
But at one point, no. At one point, I had three Evos.
Okay.
I have one still because I got one. I had one. I got one from you, and then I got one from Chuck. The one I got from Chuck was the one Mariela shoots.
Okay.
And then I had the one I got from you. Was it an expedite?
No, I traded you an Evo. You had the expedite.
Right. Yeah. So I had that Evo. That one I sold online. No, that one's the one Chewy's got.
It is. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember you saying you had the Evo, but because they were like the same specs as the expedite, and your son. How did it go? You had the expedite, and your son could pull back the Evo, but you wanted to use the Evo or something like that. And I told you I would trade you.
Right.
So I ended up with the expedite. That thing was a pain in the ass to tune for me, dude.
Man, it was so fast, but I think that's the downfall to it is getting it to paper tune and getting it to tune period.
Yeah.
Was a pain in the butt.
I got it because I had an antelope hunt coming up that year, and I wanted
range
something
on that
quick.
thing.
Yeah. And
it was definitely a better sight tape out of that bow because it was so fast. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Shit, we've come a long ways, dude. I mean, like I said, like rewinding back to how you said getting into competition, paper competition archery, and then we got into 3D archery, and then we became board members of that club and stuff, and from something I didn't want to do.
Right.
Now I'm president.
Now you run the whole show.
Yeah, now I run the whole show. But
I feel like that had to happen. I feel like somebody had to step in, to keep it going. It's always, we always look for somebody else to do something. We always look for somebody else to keep stuff alive. But if you want to keep it going, I think there's no better person to keep it going than
I think it gives me. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that, and I think it gives me some type of purpose, dude, into not only cause my love of archery is diminished over the years, right? And I've developed some target panic and stuff. I'm working through it. Got some great advice from some top-notch shooters, but being able to bring in new people into it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So not only are we bringing new people to Deming to shoot our course, but we also have these kids that we help out.
Yeah.
And sooner or later they'll be out on our course too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, there's a joy that I get seeing other people be successful in things that I love. You know what I mean? So I kind of feel like, okay, I had a hand in that. I don't want any credit for it, but
it's almost nice like passing the torch.
Yeah.
You know,
it's nice seeing somebody be successful at something that you may have had a small part in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's good, man. I mean, like I said, it gives me purpose. Same thing with hunting, dude. And I've done it with you too. And you got mad at me. He's like, "Why'd you leave your bow in the truck?" He's like, "Yeah, dude, this one's on you."
I remember that.
Yeah, this one's on you, man.
We spot a deer. We jump out of the truck. We start stalking it. I look back and I'm like, "Where's your bow?"
Yeah.
Like, "You got it?" I'm like, "What the hell, man?"
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, dude. It's like, it's your success is my success, man. I mean, shit, we're in this together, you know.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I've appreciated over the years is you know, we started on different levels, and we've evolved. And before, I was kind of looking for advice. I was kind of looking for, like, how do I do this? How do I do that? And you were able to provide that, you know, hands down. Any questions I had, you were able to answer. And now it's gone to the point where we're like bouncing ideas off of each other. We have like these long conversations about arrow setups and bow builds and how we're going to do this and how we're going to do that.
Yeah.
And I won't get into the peep.
That's how I was going with it. You saw my facial expression. So I was like, yeah, we even go into arguments about peep height and how it all works, and it doesn't make sense in my head, but
yeah,
we won't go there. We'll save that for another episode.
Yeah, for sure. But that's kind of the point of this. I feel like it's something that, you know, we've been talking about it for years, trying to put something together where we can just kind of talk and communicate on where we're going, what we're doing, what we've been through. You know, some of the stuff that some people don't have access to. I want this to be something that we can get together and kind of have conversations just about archery and life and hunting and take it from there. Because we've had some pretty good experiences out there in the woods for sure. So it's good. It's gonna be nice to share that with everybody.
Yeah, man, for sure, dude. And they do hunting stories for days, you know, and it's always a good time out there. It's always a good time. I don't think I've ever been out there one time where I regretted it, you know. Maybe a little bit of regret it, you know. It's like, damn, I should have spent more time in the gym. These mountains are kicking my ass.
Man, that's another thing that we gotta address. I need to get my ass back into the gym.
Yeah.
I keep saying it. I just gotta do it.
No, it's been good, man. It's been a hell of a ride, and you know, I'll continue it as long as I can. Like I said, the love of the sport is, for me personally, it's just diminishing a little bit, and it's not like I'm gonna give it up. It's like, no, I gotta find a way to make it better, because I was once 10 times better than I am now. You know what I mean? So I need to get back to that, and I think it's just practicing a lot more than making time for it. I think if you make time for anything, you'll be good at it.
Yeah, I think life, man. That's one thing. This life doesn't stop, you know, and we have to just remember that we make time for what we want. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we forget that, you know. And we all punch the clock. I punch the clock just like everybody else.
That's one thing you've always said too. Like, we all have the same 24 hours.
Yeah, and that's another thing too is, you know, you're giving your time to somebody else. Why not buy some time for yourself? You know, why don't you punch that clock for yourself? You know, and it's one thing that, you know, we all struggle with. I know for me, it's something that I struggle with from time to time, to think about, you know, I'm gonna do this, and then I don't do it. Yeah, and you're just like, man, like it's.
You know, it's crazy too, man. It's like we're full of good advice. Yeah, rarely do we ever take our own advice. We don't ever take it. Yeah. I mean, I've told, you know, my brother and my sister and a couple of buddies, and I think I even told you, you know, you can't take care of somebody else if you're not taking care of yourself.
That's it.
You know,
that's it.
It's like, what kind of effort are you giving? You know, you can give way more effort if you were 100%. Yeah. Than nothing at all. But
yeah, there's no substitution for that. You know,
it really isn't.
You can get all the top-notch gear. You can have the best, you know, arrows, the best bow, the best equipment. But if you don't put in that effort, and that's the one thing that the mountains don't care about. Dude,
you're telling me. And it could be the same mountain you hunt every year, dude, and it'll kick your ass 10 times out of 10 if you don't get your ass up there and do something about it. Yeah. You know, and there's no easy way up to the top. What's that shirt I got from Bow Hitch, dude?
Oh, man. I wear that thing all the time. Yeah. Nobody walks uphill by accident.
Yeah. Yeah. It's got to be by purpose, dude. Yeah. And that's a great guy to be around, too.
Man, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I can't wait. We got a lot of stuff coming up this year I'm excited for.
Yeah. What do we got planned this year so far?
Total Archery Challenge, for sure.
We got TAC in Colorado.
Got an archery shoot with Luke.
With Luke, yeah. Well, hopefully. I mean, he that's a cool dude, man. That's a cool dude. Hopefully we can make it happen and stuff, and get to see the guys and stuff. The guys from the Cutter and of course I think Mondo's gonna be there from the Bow Hitch. Who else is gonna be out there? I wonder if they're gonna have any like new companies.
I hope so. You know, and that's the great thing. If you guys haven't gone to a TAC's, man, it's such an experience, and not just the course itself, but just the people that are there, and to see some of this equipment firsthand, to see some of the new products that are coming out, be able to put your hands on it. Because I don't know about you, but I like to be able to hold it in my hand before I purchase it. So like even when you're looking online and you're hearing all the reviews and you're seeing all the feedback from everybody and all this is great, there's nothing replaces holding it in your hand and feeling what it looks like and what it actually does before you make that purchase. And that was the one thing that I liked about the guys from Cutter.
Yeah,
is we walked up to that booth and within a couple of minutes they're like, how can we help you? You know, hey, what do you want to try? What do you want to look at? What are you interested in? What are you trying to accomplish? Yeah, you know, and man, those guys were so helpful.
And another thing that adds to it, man, is the reps are fully knowledgeable about what the product actually is and what it does. Yeah. And we didn't know it at the time when we were talking to the Cutter guys. But those
you
were
wouldn't
the actual,
think it.
Yeah,
you wouldn't think it. They were so down to earth. They were such good people, man.
Yeah, and ended up being the owners of the company. Yeah. You know, and that's where we met Luke and Walker.
Yeah, them guys were a hoot, man.
Yeah,
they were fucking awesome.
They remind me of us,
right?
Yeah, they're just super cool dudes and stuff. But it was great, man. You know, being able to talk to the head of the company and stuff, and get to learn how it's built. And you know
what really sold me on their products is we had a mishap with your kickstand. Yeah. And to have somebody stand behind their product like that, we walked down the mountain and you walked up there and you told them, hey man, this broke. What? Let me see that. Here. Yeah. And gave you a brand new one.
Gave me a brand new one. And again, dude, I don't know why it broke, probably because of vibration or whatever, but same thing. I reached out to him and he was like, he goes, yeah, dude, I'll send you a shipping label. Send that to me. And we bettered the system. And I'm going to send you one back. And so, yeah, dude, it's like, it doesn't stop.
Yeah,
that's just there. You know, it carried on and stuff. And even to the point, too, to where he's like, hey, are you guys going to be at TAC this year, man? I can't wait to meet up again. Like, hang out.
So, yeah, dude, that was awesome. And that's the one thing, man. Those kind of companies, those kinds of people that you meet, it really changes your mind on the products. And I wouldn't put any other stabilizer bars on my bows, but
I'm excited about that quiver they got coming out, dude. That thing, I forget what they call it, but it's on pre-order right now, but I know it'll be there. I don't know if it'll come out before then, but I know it's going to be there. And
yeah, that's the one thing I want to check out for sure. Yeah. Check out their booth.
I think Dialed Archery is supposed to be out there too. I want to check out some of their stuff.
Yeah. Those are some badass sites.
And then definitely this year, dude, we got to shoot for that truck.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, that's the one thing. If you guys are going to shoot TAC, make some time to do that. Because we didn't realize the amount of people that were shooting those novelty shoots, man.
Yeah.
But it's definitely something that you can do early or later on in the day to avoid the crowds. But
the other thing too, man, on that is where we misjudged it, because we shoot here, right? We shoot 20 targets and it takes us like 2-3 hours. Right. And up there, dude, we started, our shoot time was 2. And we didn't get off that mountain till 7:30, 8 o'clock. Yeah. Missed the party.
Yeah.
Missed the novelty shoot. We couldn't shoot for the truck. Yeah. And everything was shut down already. And so I would say if you're going to hit TAC, try to get an early shoot time or get there early and do all that stuff ahead of time. And
or do a couple of days.
Yeah. That'd probably be the best bet.
That's probably the best bet. But we're easing into it.
That was our first one, man. We had a great experience.
Hell yeah. Hell of a time. This will be our second one, same location.
Different location.
Same state, different location. You're right.
Yeah.
Have they put out anything about the camping situation yet or no?
I haven't seen anything about it.
That'd be good. That'd be good to figure out. Definitely want to take the Forerunner up there this year. The rooftop tent. Maybe do another podcast from TAC itself. See who we could wrangle in to to doing a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure some guys would sit and talk to us for a couple.
Oh yeah,
Minutes talking about some products. Yeah,
get some beer.
Now, I'm on the fence right now. So last time we bought Luke and Walker a couple of beers, right? And then afterwards, got to chatting and stuff, and I was like, "Oh yeah, we'll see you guys next year. We'll make it a tradition." I'll see. At that time, he said that he would do whiskey. Whiskey would be better.
Yeah.
Right. But then on one of his last podcasts, he's like, "I can't do whiskey, man." So,
well, I think he can if we get that cure.
oh yeah, well, he's gonna have it.
Yeah.
But
I'm excited
his thing
to
was
try
like, I forget what he said about it, but he was like, whiskey makes him crazy or some shit like that.
Right.
It's like, well, I mean, I don't know how much more crazy he can get, dude. He's pretty wild, dude.
Yeah,
he's
wild.
funny. He's a funny guy. I like that dude.
Yeah, that guy was blessed. We met him. We met him at the Cutter booth.
Yeah.
And then I mean they could have said no, but we walked into that mess hall, and we had nowhere to sit. There was nowhere to put our bows. We needed to get some water in our packs for the course, and we just asked him, "Hey man, mind if we sit with you guys?" Yeah, hell yeah! Grab a chair, pull up a chair.
Yeah.
Super cool dudes, man. They could have definitely said no. They could have said we're busy. We're having a conversation. Fuck off. And
Yeah.
they were super chill and super cool. Hung out with them. Got to hear a little bit about their background, what they were into.
And that's when we found out who they were.
Yeah, we had no idea who they were.
Yeah, because we had walked away from the Cutter booth, and then they were like, "Hey, New Mexico, can we get a picture with you guys?" Like, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, shit. So we went back, took a picture, and Luke took that picture, and then we asked Luke for a photo with him, not knowing who the guy was. Yeah. I don't remember if Walker was in the booth or if he had walked off for a little bit. But yeah, I told him we didn't know who he was, just taking pictures with cool dudes, And then later on, we find out who he is and stuff.
Yeah, I remember when they were setting up the stabilizers. One of the guys was like, "Hey, you know who that is?" And I was like, "No." He's like, "It's Luke." I was like, "Okay." Like if I'm supposed to know who that person is, just by the first name. But he heard him say that, and he turned around and he reached in his bag. And he gave me a koozie.
A koozie, yeah. A koozie. Gladiators on
yeah. GU. And I was like, okay. I was like, cool. He's like, I got a podcast. I was like, all right, cool.
And that's where they left it up.
Yeah, that's where they didn't tell us any other thing besides that.
Yeah. And then, we did see his badass truck, though, in the parking lot, dude.
Yeah,
we were talking about that. Like, damn, that fucking truck is badass.
Sick ass truck. It
says Gladiators Unleashed on it and everything. I was like, damn, that's a sick ass Toyota. And that's when I think, were you giving me shit about?
Yeah, buying a new truck.
Buying a truck, yeah.
Still haven't bought a new truck.
I'm on the verge, bro, but I might end up with a Toyota.
Yeah.
Join the family. I see all the excitement people get whenever you have a Toyota shirt on.
Yeah, right. We're at Walmart buying a mouse to get this setup going, and the guy's like, "You have a 4Runner?" And I'm like, trying to figure out how he read my mind. And I look down, I'm wearing a 4Runner shirt.
Dude, that's the equivalent to, it's like, is that a Supra?
Yeah, right? Toyota.
It is. But no, it was super cool, man. It was super cool, and it was a hell of a shoot. Learned a lot. It was tough, but I would definitely, I think this year shooting a earlier time slot, an earlier shoot time, I think we should be done by lunchtime.
Yeah.
Then we can go down and mingle with the vendors. And
well, we'll see, because we're shooting last year we shot the prime course.
Yeah,
because we were in our prime.
Yeah.
So this year we're shooting Sitka course, and that's supposed to be a little more challenging. I don't know how much more challenging it can be, but
well, I mean, the only thing that I expected last year that we didn't get was yardage, bro.
Yeah,
there wasn't a whole lot of long shots.
Yeah.
I think it was probably and I say long shots, like over 100. I think there was only like one or two. All the other ones were kind of close.
Yeah, there was some 70, 80 yard shot that the angle was pretty crazy.
Yeah, that mule deer up on it was 92 yards, but like like a 40 degree incline.
Yeah, I was insane.
Yeah. You killed it, though. You drilled that one.
That shit was fun.
Yeah, and it's just this whole, like, going full circle with archery, man, from where I started when I was a kid to teaching these young kids how to do it, or, you know, having these young kids on our course shooting bows and stuff, and seeing their excitement with it. But I went from shooting a recurve with some wood arrows. Back then, dude, the arrows were like 10 for $1, dude.
Yeah.
And now you can't even get an arrow for $1.
Hell no.
You know,
Get a field point, maybe.
yeah, maybe, and that's pushing it.
Not the Eastons.
No. From going from that, dude, and all the way to where we're at now, where we pretty much have almost every tool a bow shop would have.
Right.
You know, from arrow saws to arrow jigs to bow press, you know,
levels,
everything. And scales. And that's why I say, like I tell the two, like, keep it simple, dude, because if you dive way too deep into this shit, you'll be buying everything, and then
the problem with buying everything is you start messing with everything. Yeah. And that's where
and you got guys like Outshape, dude, that always be tinkering, right? And it's a good thought. It's a really good thought, but I think there's a limit to it.
They talked about that a little bit. I watched the podcast when they were talking about that, and it was, I think it was Brandon McDonald and MFJJ were talking about how good is that theory, or how good is that logic to always be tinkering. And I think what it is tinker and then experiment. And what he was saying is that, would you still be shooting if you weren't tinkering? So, like, if you had the perfect setup, would you shoot that bow more? When you're trying to figure something out, it feels like you're trying to
tinkering is more of a learning thing than
I think it helps you get some reps in, because you're trying to figure some stuff out.
Yeah.
It's just a different approach, I guess.
Yeah, I guess it's in perspective is what it is.
Yeah.
Because I've talked with him for a little bit, telling him, yeah, dude, I'm always tinkering with stuff. My problem is that I tinker with shit in the middle of a competition.
Right before or in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, it's like, oh, I shot a little bit left. Let me move my sight half an inch.
Yeah.
It's like, let's see what that does. Let me put my arrow upside down. See what that does. Like,
yeah.
And I don't see a whole lot of difference in a lot of the things that that I've seen on YouTube. Right.
Yeah.
4 vanes, 3 vanes. You know, fixed broadheads to mechanicals to hybrids. Like, I don't see a whole lot of difference on a lot of stuff. I know that the best arrow I ever built, it flew perfect, whether I had tilt points or broadheads on it, and I don't know if it had anything to do with the bow.
Right.
But going back to that, it's like, you would know if it was the bow if you were always tinkering.
Right. Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's just how much reps you get behind it, and when you're trying to figure something out, it feels like you're out there shooting more. Yeah, when you're not.
And I think you're right, man. Cause like this, I have the Elite Omnia, and I was messing with I don't know what kind of system it's called. It's supposed to be easy to tune and stuff, but some people have the same issues I do with the string hitting the tune and stuff. And they've gone a little bit further to where, like, they switch the shims around or something like that. And so I don't want to go that far into, swapping the shims around, the spacers, but I got to take it to actually get it dialed in perfectly, and then I know, like, from that point, after it's set, tuned and everything, paper tuned, then I know if it's off, it's something I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. That might be a good idea for another episode or another video, and see, taking it to the bow shop. What do you ask? What do you get? What do you do? What's the proper steps to getting the paper tuned? Because I remember I thought it was just take it in there and you get paper tuned. And the first time I tried to do it, the guy was like, yeah, man, you got to put a couple of shots to that bow before I can paper tune it. I just put a brand new string on it. And so that's something that, another thing too that you got to realize when you get a brand new bow is that string's going to stretch for a little bit. And if you make all these adjustments and then put it away, and then that string, stretches or moves on you, then when you go pick it back up again, it can be frustrating as hell.
Yeah. I mean, and a lot of people don't realize is that bow. A lot of things change, man, and it goes back to that tinkering. If it's hot outside, if it's cold outside, if you move your peep sight, you put a new peep sight in, like you have to go back and redo everything. It might not be as extensive to dial it back in, but as things change, your sights are going to change. The more you shoot it, the string, once it stretches and everything, your pin gap's going to get bigger. You're going to lose speed, or there's a lot of technology behind it, but you have to shoot your bow, man. I know there's a lot of people out there, and we'll save this for another time too, but where they don't shoot all year.
Oh yeah.
So I had guys like, hey, well, how soon before your hunt do you shoot your bow? I was like, I shoot it every month, dude. Like every month, every week.
Yeah.
I used to shoot it every day, but now it's every week. I'm always shooting it.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know. It just keeps you in tune and stuff, and I think the more you know your bow, the better you are.
That's what I was going to get at. There's people out there that say it's like riding a bike. Once you learn how to read a bow, you don't forget. But if you ride your bike once a year, you're going to be a little rusty.
Yeah.
And if you ride your bike every day, stamina's built up, you got better balance, you got better direction, you know what's going on. If your chain's loose, you can figure that out really quick. But to pick it up a day before your hunt or even a week before your hunt and expect it to perform like it was last season, it's crazy. And you'll have those people that they won't even shoot it till they get to camp and then figure out they got some issues, or their sight moved, their draw length's different.
And now they're in a crunch, calling every bow shop known to man to try to get it fixed and stuff. And my buddy, man, Armando, I can't wait for you to meet him, dude. He's a great guy. But he's like, always be ready. September's tomorrow.
Yep.
So be ready for it. And,
I've seen him on TikTok, and I've seen his videos, and he's always talking about that. They're getting ready for a 5K,
Yeah, and I think July 5th, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
July 5th. I don't know who's all involved in it. I know it's him. I'm thinking Adrian from Game On Outdoors is going to show up. I don't know if any of the Elk Road guys are going to show up, but it's a small, friendly 5K. Well, you can do a 5K, a 10K, or a half marathon.
Yeah.
It's your choice.
That's cool.
And you can run it, you can walk it, whatever. He's training for a 14 or for a half marathon. Is that 13.8 miles or something like that?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, I'm in no shape to do that.
Yeah, the other day, I used to run a lot, but I don't anymore. And the other day, we needed they came to pick something up from work, and I had to run across the factory. And meet me in the back. I'll be right there. I'll unlock the door for you. And I ran. About halfway there, man, I'm like, what the hell is going on? Feeling it. Like, this is crazy.
You got a trailer now.
Yeah, man. So,
oh, man.
Yeah. Run us through your bow setup. What are you running this year?
Right now, on my bow, I got 60X custom strings for strings. It's an Elite Omnia, 70 pounds. 70 pounds max. I'm only shooting 62. I was playing with the adjustment on the let off.
Right.
So I had it at 90, and then I backed it all the way down to 80. Now I'm sitting at about 83, 84.
Yeah.
In there somewhere, and it fits comfortable. It doesn't give me too much room where if I relax, you know what I mean?
I was gonna say, is that something that you're doing to help with the
so
target panic?
I think speaking about riding a bike, I'm pedaling with my hands right now, dude.
Yeah,
it's different. Yeah. Let's see what else I got on that thing. I got the Excel. I think it's the Achieve sight on there, and then the cutter stabilizers. Front, I think up front, I think I got the 15-inch bar.
I think so.
And in the back, I think there's a 10, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, 15-10.
Yeah,
that sounds about right.
And then what else do I have on there? I have the Vapor Trail Gen 7.
Yeah.
Breast, and then that's pretty much it. Oh, my specialty peep, my peep sight.
Yeah.
That one, I've had my ins and outs with it. It's a great peep sight setup. I had my original one that I had on there. I gave it to my wife because had her. She's sponsored by me, so I got her set up with that one, and then I bought me a new one. And yeah, I mean it works, but I just can't get the aperture big enough. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got to work with that. I might switch over to a Hamsky.
Yeah.
If they have a bigger peep.
I think they make one now.
I think the XL.
Yeah. The Hamsky XL, and even that new one, the one with the clarifiers.
Yeah. What is that one called? The Raptex? Something like that.
Raptor.
Something like that.
Something.
But I think that one might have the bigger peep.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's a pretty good setup. Did everything myself. I did take it to Rock and R to get it tuned and stuff, and it does have the. Damn, I can't forget. I forget what the name of the adjustments are, man. For
the Easy Tune.
Yeah.
I forgot.
And, it basically moves your whole cam.
That's the one that has the Allen in there.
Yeah.
That lock screw, and then you turn it.
Yeah, a set. It's called a set.
Yeah, set, and then you can turn it counterclockwise or clockwise to adjust the
cam.
The cam.
Yeah, so I've been playing around with that stuff, and I got to shoot straight finally. But the thing is, like, trying to get it to shoot straight and keep the string from hitting the cam.
Yeah,
it's a pain in the ass. So,
yeah.
But I might have to tear it all down and then change some things, and then yeah, man, I mean, it's one of the things that, you know, through going not too far, but farther than I ever thought I would ever go, taking apart things and putting it back together. Right. I've made mistakes, you know, in the past, and you know, taking my bows apart and they don't feel right drawing back. I actually blew a bow up. And to this day, I don't know if it was something I did or something that owner did to the bow. Besides the point, I blew it up, and then so that was a crazy experience. But you learn from shit like that. But it also kind of traumatizes you a little bit too, because
But that's the one thing though is you can't learn it unless you try it.
Yeah.
So it's one of those
and
things where
that's been my whole life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel as a man, that's how we learn.
Yeah.
You know, we're not really.
That's why we don't read manuals. You just do it.
Yeah.
You know? You have a few extra bolts.
Who reads those?
Yeah. You got a few extra bolts. Just throw them in the trash. Throw them in the beer can.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, dude. It's been good. I mean, I've learned a lot of stuff that way. I think you learn best when you're not afraid to break shit.
Yeah.
You know. Of course, when you're working on somebody else's shit, you don't want to. You definitely don't want to break it.
You want to learn.
Yeah,
for sure.
But yeah, it's been fun, man. I mean, it takes, like, for me, learning everything that I learned. It took good people investing in me, whether it be tools or knowledge, you know, to get me to where I'm at now.
Yeah.
You know, and picking the brains of people that are way better at this shit than I am. And trying to figure it out. You know what I mean? So pulling my bow apart might have been the craziest thing I've done. You know, as far as like see what happens.
Right.
But I know I have the right people that can put it back together if I fail.
Yeah, that's the great thing about, you know, your local archery shop is having that person that you can take it back and be like, hey, fix this for me. I don't know what I did. You know, and they're happy to see you when that happens. You know?
The thing is, bro, and I hope everybody's listening, is that if you fuck up, right, you make a mistake on your bow, don't go in there with a fairy tale. Tell them exactly what happened. Don't be ashamed of it. Shit happens. We're all learning. Things go wrong sometimes.
Yeah.
But if you're honest with them, it's better for them so they're able to fix it. Or not. Maybe you have to buy new parts or whatever, but be honest with your local bow shop.
Yeah, because the thing with that you have to realize is these things can be pretty dangerous. And if you don't tell them, I dry fired this thing, and they're just adjusting the cam, or you put the string on yourself after you dry fired it, and you take it in there for them to look at it, they might not understand what you did. But if they do, they can definitely check the limbs. They can definitely check your cams, making sure they're not bent, they're not damaged. And they can send you on your way if it's good to go, or they can order the parts that you need to get it back going. Because the last thing you want is that thing to blow up on your face and, you know, cause some serious injury, because that can definitely happen.
Yeah, definitely.
You've all seen the videos online of the boats blowing up and hurting somebody. You don't want to be that guy. It's less embarrassing to tell them what happened than it is to show up in the ER with a piece of archery equipment in your head.
Yeah, definitely, dude. I mean, I got lucky when that bow blew up on me, and I was just putting on some old limbs. You know, it came with 70-pound limbs. When my wife had it, I had the shop put 50-pound limbs on it, and I was like, nah, it can't be that hard. So I grabbed the other limbs, took the bow apart, put the new limbs on, everything. I shot it a couple of times, it was fine. And then that last time I drew it back, it kind of felt a little weird. And I drew it back anyways, and it freaking went to shit from there. I was left with the riser in my hand. That was it. Everything blew up. Parts all over my hallway. Like, yeah, it could have been worse.
Yeah.
But that was one of those things, man, where I was learning it. I was like, all right, I've done this before. I took in this bow apart, put it back together. It shoots just fine. I could do it. I didn't realize that each limb has a different number on there.
Yeah.
It's for the stiffness.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I put the shit on the wrong side and blew it up. But like I said, I don't know if they were already messed up, or if it's actually something that I did. But it was in my hands when it happened. So, man, some scary stuff.
Definitely. Is there anything that you're looking forward to this year as far as like new equipment coming out? You planning on changing anything up on your setup before TAC?
TAC's in a month and a half. So
going by fast.
Yeah. Let's see, changing anything. If I were gonna change anything, it would probably be the string. It's just cosmetics, dude. There's nothing wrong with the string,
right?
But
different color.
Gotta
match.
Yeah.
Gotta match your arrows.
And then the arrows, dude. That's probably the one thing that I am looking forward to is shooting these new Easton Sonics that we built. You know, and
I'm interested to see that. We talked about earlier, getting that weight down for TAC and building a sub 400 arrow.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see that sight tape on that.
Yeah, that's gonna be different. I might have to order some sight tapes. What is it? Archer's Advantage? Is that the one that did it, or who does the sight tapes?
Yeah, there's a better one now.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's Adam's Precision.
Okay.
Archery.
Yeah.
And I've been eager to try that, but they say the best way to do that is with that new Garmin.
I know who has one.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Dude, if we could borrow that, you could make a badass sight tape.
Yeah, I know who has one.
Yeah. Yeah, we need to borrow that.
Yeah, I'll see him tomorrow. I'll ask him.
Heck yeah. Yeah, if we could send some arrows down range, with that. And that's the crazy thing about the technology nowadays. Garmin makes some badass equipment.
They do, man. So, yeah, a couple things that we need to invest in. The Garmin InReach. Been wanting one of those for a while. And
those are necessities out there in the woods.
And sure. I don't have any hunts personally this year, so I'll just hopefully be tagging along on some your hunt. Yeah, for sure.
For sure, I'd love to have you on mine. You know that unit more than anybody else I know, and man, it's gnarly out there, and it's second set of eyes is definitely helpful.
Yeah, definitely. There's a couple of products that I'm interested in, man. So the all-in phone scope thing, the all-in phone adapter for the spotting scope. I do want to acquire one of those. As a matter of fact, Luke just did a podcast with the owner of All-In, the creator. Well, I don't know if he's the owner. I know he works with the company.
Inventor, creator.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. And that's a cool story too.
That is
to see. Man, so many opportunities, dude, that you can do, or so many, not opportunities.
Opportunities.
There are opportunities, but there's so many possibilities.
Possibilities.
Yeah, that you can do with Just the right mindset, the right people in your corner, and the right tools.
Yeah. You know, it's scary because even this, we talked about doing the podcast, putting together some videos, doing some content for a long time, and it just, you know, to get outside that bubble and actually do it, it's you know, it's scary to take that leap. But I was hearing that podcast and hearing his story about how he just took a chance. Yeah, you know, and
but shit. I mean, if you go back and listen to like any of the owners, man, of the outdoor world is a crazy world to be a part of and stuff. But even like the Montana Knife Company. Yeah. He was a kid, dude. He learned how to make knives and stuff. He fell in love with it and started doing it, made a big old company out of it. You know? Hell yeah. Started at trade shows, you know. And that's one thing starting this podcasting is a step forward into that world, right? But I would like to have some cool ass products and shit. Yeah. You know what I mean? And some innovative stuff like the bow hitch, for example, dude.
Man, dude.
You know what I mean?
It's like it's so simple that you're like, somebody never thought of that.
Yeah. Why didn't I think of that?
You know? But I mean, it just goes to show you, like, you know, that mentality and that mindset and just the perseverance of, you know, I want to push this through. And you know, I've kind of met Mondo at Total Archery Challenge. We were up there.
Oh, that's right.
And but you can definitely tell, you know, he's that kind of person, you know.
Yeah, the first time I met him, dude, was at the Full Draw Film Tour, and I had my wife and kids there and everything, and I saw the product, and that's when I first bought it. I bought it after the show, but he was like, we didn't even talk about the product. Yeah, we were talking about his axis hunt in Hawaii. And I was like, well, how do I do it, man? How do I get there? And what does it cost? And all this stuff. So we're just going on and on and on about the hunt stuff. But that's what I do. You know what I mean? Like, even with work, if I see an animal on the wall, that's what we're talking about.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean? Or they see my tattoos and stuff like, oh, you hunt? Or you like the outdoors? Like, yeah, I do a little bit. Yeah, you know,
just a little bit.
But like meeting guys like Mondo, dude, is like they're so excited to tell you about their stories and show you their product, of course. But the product becomes like in the shadows.
Yeah,
because you're so
the experiences.
Yeah, so you're so into it, and it's like watching your favorite movie, and it's about to hit its climax and stuff, and it's like, oh, waiting to see what else comes on and stuff. But it's surreal, dude, when you have people like that with such a bright personality that you can't help but be drawn to their story. Yeah, they could be talking about anything. You're there watching them, and he's just one of those dudes. But always excited, man, and always doing good stuff. But yeah, man, to have a product like that really, really take off on. Like you said, like, why didn't anybody think about it? It's so simple. Yeah. Even like Burball, dude. The Bow Buddy.
Oh, man, dude.
That dude's making a killing on that.
Killing it, man.
You know, and it's
it.
It's a simple little product.
It's so crazy because I'm like, I know that guy.
Yeah.
I said hi. I've shot with him before.
Yeah, we shot with him before. You know, and
but that's the great thing about the archery scene, the archery community, is there's so many opportunities out there to, you know, better yourself. Not only as a hunter or as an outdoorsman, but, you know, your life could change if you just put some time and some effort into a product or
investing in yourself.
You know? Yeah, that's it. And it goes back to that what we were talking about earlier is, you know, sell yourself some time and get after it, you know. But
yeah, man, that's what I was telling you earlier when we were at Walmart. I met that DJ, right? I thought he was an older dude. He looks like an older guy. And he's telling me how much he's making and stuff. And I'm like, or how much he charges an hour and what his biggest gig was and stuff. And he's like, yeah, man, I don't only do this. Like, I do welding. I do construction. Yeah. I do land leveling. And I was like, damn, dude, you're into a lot of stuff, dude. He's like, yeah. But right now I'm just focused on school. I graduate high school next week. Right. And I was like, what the hell? That's
one thing that...
Dude, you're going to do... I told him, you're going to go big places, dude.
Yeah, you're going to go
big places.
You know, it's just having that right mentality. And that's why I try to tell, you know, my older kids is, trying to discourage them from punching the clock for somebody else.
Yeah.
Find something that you want to do, man. And I've been trying to convince JJ to do like a car washing thing. Man, let's load up a pressure washer on your truck, generator, and some water in there, man, and go just knock on some doors, or put a little ad out there, advertisement somehow, and get after it, man. Because you don't realize how fast time flies, and the different jobs that you've had and experiences are great, but you can get caught up in that lifestyle of just working, 9 to 5 or living paycheck to paycheck. And that's something that, a lot of people don't realize, that there's that other avenue of, I'm going to work for myself.
Yeah. I keep coming across those kind of quotes too, man, on social media and stuff. It says, like, you work 9 hours for somebody else. What are you doing for yourself? Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right, dude. It's just, I've always told my kids, like, whatever you want to do, be the best at it, but find something you enjoy doing, so it doesn't feel like work.
Yeah.
I've seen, like, for my wife example, man, I've seen her start at the bottom and literally at the bottom of her department, and now she's top.
Yeah.
She's at the head of her department and stuff, and it's like, I saw the struggle, I saw everything she went through and everything to get there, and it's like, yeah, you deserve that, you earned that shit. You know what I mean? It wasn't given to her by any means, but to teach that to my kids, like, I hope they see it.
Yeah.
I hope they
sure
see what they that with a little bit of hard work, even just a little bit, you can go far.
Yeah, just the amount of effort you put into something. But one of the things that we don't realize, growing up, and is you're busting your ass, and you can be a hard ass worker, and you can earn a really decent living, but they're willing to pay you that because they're making more off of what you're making.
Yeah.
And that's something that I've been starting to see lately now, being in the management, is, wow, like these, these people are hardworking and they show up every day, and you depend on them to get you through. But in reality, you only give them a fraction of what they're worth. We try to take care of everybody that we can, but that's just the corporate world, and that's just the world that we live in.
Yeah, it goes into everything, dude. It goes into everything. So even in hunting, you got people that just like in the corporate world, you got people that get lucky. Put their name in the hat. They're not even qualified for it, but they put their name in the hat and got the job.
Yep.
Real successful people. Same thing with people on the mountain, man. Sometimes they're just in the right place at the right time.
Right place, right time.
Get a deer right off the road.
Yep.
Meanwhile, the guy that was working his ass off for months and setting up cameras and everything accidentally bumped him over the mountain for somebody to get him right off the road.
Yeah.
It happens. It happens in all walks of life. That's what I like with archery, dude. Like on the course, right? In competition, there's no shortcut to success.
Nope.
There's no shortcut at all. You have to put in the work. You have to do the time, day in and day out, to be one of the top. And I guess you could cheat your way to the top.
Yeah.
But one day or another, you're gonna have to prove why you're up there.
Yeah. What's crazy is growing up, it was always fake it till you make it, and it's so crazy, because if you just start trying to make it instead of faking it, you get so much further. You put in that work.
Yeah, man, because how much effort are you doing? Yeah. If you put the amount of effort you do into faking it, and turn it around.
Put in the work.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And that's what happens,
It's like hiding a mess for a kid.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you spend all that time hiding your mess. If you would have just cleaned it, you wouldn't have to do it again.
Well, not only that, but you can get exposed real quick by the mountain.
Oh, dude.
It'll expose you 100%. You can fake it all year.
Yeah.
But on day one, you're exposed.
Yeah. No, you're right, dude. I've got my ass whooped by that mountain how many times.
Yeah.
It's fun though. Damn, dude. We'll save this for the next episode.
Yeah. How long are we into this one?
I don't know. It's quite a while, actually.
Yeah. Let's cut this one short. So, recap. We'll do a couple more of these. and try to explore some different perspectives, different topics. But I think for our first one, this was pretty good. So yeah, thanks for coming out, man.
Yeah, for sure, dude.
Let's do a bunch of more of these. All right.
Yes, sir.
Link in my bio. Subscribe.